right. I think we're live. Oops. I don't have the stream muted there. There we go. Okay. Let me just get things set up. Okay. So, we are back at it with Kerbal Space Program in Real Solar System with Realism Overhaul and all the other fun stuff. And last time we left off with this rocket and a failed launch due to user error. But I think if we try it again, we will be successful. But first we are going to make some changes. So first of all, let's get all these fairings off. And I did figure out how to make it so we don't need this decoupler. How we can use this fairing interstage. So yeah, I don't know why it's different now than it was. It used to have like tons of different connection points, but I guess if we connect it there, and we also want wait, what's that? Oh, interesting. So it's that. And we want staging enabled. There we go. And that's right there. Perfect. We can move that down. And we want a stage below. And then if we use this to move it up, that should work. It is a little odd right now. Let's yeah, so we need to shorten it just a tad. And then it pops up. It might just be easier to use the decouplers because this does seem kind of buggy. I'm probably using it wrong, but the other way I used it wasn't really working too well either. Yeah. Let's just go all the way back till we had that decoupler there. And almost there. Yes. There's our decoupler. Okay. So, yeah, I guess this will work fine. It's whatever. Get rid of that, and we're going to put these here a little differently. So we're just going to have 4 sticking out for attitude control, and we're also going to have some sticking straight down for our ullage. And I can't zoom in any farther. And that looks good enough. And then for our spin, we're going to use separation motors, because now that I think about it, having those little thrusters angled for spin probably wasn't going to do it. So we'll do something like that, and that should spin us up. We can maybe angle those a bit more. Oops. Alright. Let's make sure those are in the right place. They're way down there. We want them right up there. Okay. And okay, those are nitrogen good. 13.98, so about 14 units per second. I just want to see how much time we'd have. Oh, we have tons in here. Okay, yeah, tons of nitrogen. That should be more than enough to control it. There we go. And I think our upper stage looks pretty good. We might want to add a battery on here. I'm just worried that the increased mass is gonna kind of ruin everything. If I can click. Okay. Yeah, we only have 180 electric charge, which is not very much. Yeah. Hopefully it's enough to get us by, but it's only got 78. We might we make that twice as thick. I know. Let's make it like 15 if I can get to it there. Now how much do you have? 116. Okay. Alright, and we have to fix our staging again. These should be up here. Actually, no, they should be right here. There we go. And okay. Why does it say we have such high thrust? Oh, I see where it's just putting it's assuming we're firing these motors right here right after we fire this engine, which we are not doing. We want to do that. Yeah, there, that fixed it, moving that fairing separation. And actually, since now we're getting a little low on the delta V side, we can probably, I'm going to say cut that fuel in half. What's that get us? An extra 6 delta V, it looks like. Or what? Yeah, 17 versus, yeah, 6 delta V we get. And it doesn't matter how long those fire for. Okay. All right. And I did install a few more mods. I installed a hull cam mod. If I can find any of that. I wonder. Yeah. Okay. So we just have to do that. They're all in the first node, so they don't cost anything. Let's put one of these cameras on our rocket so we can watch it in flight. Let's put one on the first stage right there. Let's also put one inside the fairing. We can do science cam. Night vision cam. Oh, that's cool. It's been a while since I've used this camera mod, so let's see if we can squeeze it right in there. Alright. I kind of forget the controls to use these cameras too, but we'll figure it out. How much does that camera weigh? 0.005. Maybe we shouldn't put one in there, because that did take away a couple meters per second of delta V. And that should be enough, especially since our gravity losses are going to be pretty low. But we're also going to have, just because of the very weird way this rocket was thrown together, we're going to have quite a few, quite a bit of losses when we are on our second stage here. So let's just make sure everything's in order. Spin up motors, decouple and fire. Okay. And the other problem we had was when this staged, we got put into a tumble. Oops. Didn't mean to take it all off. I think maybe if we... No, that's not what I wanted. Just shorten that a bit. Maybe not that much. I don't want there to be like a visible gap, but... Because I think maybe these collided as they separated. So... Oops. There, now there's just a very tiny gap, and I think that might fix it. We'll see. Anyways, I think that's going to do it. So we will build. And one thing that's going to happen is we won't fill this contract because we still got almost 2 years left on it. This contract we will fail though, so we'll lose another $3 grand, which is not good. But what are you gonna do? Probably, well, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna accept my contracts on time. And how much does that cost? That's a lot of money, but we will need to upgrade our launch pad quite soon because we're already getting pretty close to the weight limit. And my phone's going off, and I'm not going to answer that because I don't know the number. Alright. So, Black Skies Mark IV. Can we rename this here? Yes, we can. 2. Because it is the second attempt. And, oh yeah, we still have an available fund. We can do that and build it a little faster. Alright, 74 days. Warp. Actually, can I... I think if I do that, it won't pop up with messages all the time. Maybe. I don't know. I was playing around in a different save and that worked. Okay, let's wait till the morning. That is the morning, and launch. Okay, and I think, yeah, there's our camera. Let's bring up everything in MechJib that we want. I want that, and that, and that, and that. And the other thing that didn't really go too well with our rocket was our launch trajectory. So I think what we're going to do is, we had, these have already been changed, haven't they? Yeah, we had this at like 45. I think this was actually quite a bit lower too. Okay. I'm actually going to raise this a bit more to 55. So it's going to take a steeper trajectory, but that's just because our first stage is really low thrust. or our second stage is really low thrust. Alright, and show on nav ball. Okay. Let's get ready to launch. This camera mod is pretty cool. Of course, the launch pad's glitching out, because why wouldn't it be? And there's our gravity turn started. It's not really a true gravity turn, because we're keeping on a certain path. True gravity turn, you just pitch over a little bit and then you basically tell your rocket to point at your prograde vector the whole way to orbit, or at least the whole way through the atmosphere. And we failed that. And what we're going to do right before this stage burns out, we're going to activate RCS so that it's going when we separate the stages. And that RCS will just keep pushing us so we don't have ullage problems. Alright, so 25 seconds left. Looks good so far. Although we didn't have any problems with the first stage on the last flight, so that's kind of to be expected. Five seconds to MECO. Gonna activate RCS. Going to stage. And we still tumbled again. Why did we tumble? Okay. That's an issue. Yeah. Okay. So let's get us around before we lose too much energy. Maybe it's because we're still deep in the atmosphere, but we aren't that deep. We shouldn't have any aerodynamic problems. Interesting. Also, it separated each one of our RCS into a different little pad on our staging menu there. Yeah, I wonder why it keeps flipping. Oh, one other thing we wanted was the... Where is it? I'm not seeing it. I guess we don't have it. Interesting. I was looking for the maneuver node editor. Let's get rid of those heavy fairings. But I guess we don't have the maneuver node editor yet. Or the flight recorder. Okay, that's fine. We are going to raise this. Yeah, look at how flattened our trajectory is getting. Let's get up to 5 degrees right away. Oh yeah, we're almost at apoapsis already. I should have raised this up earlier. So we've passed over apoapsis at only 155 kilometers. Slightly lower than I would like. Yeah. I don't think this is going to get to orbit either. We just don't... That first stage doesn't burn for long enough, and then the second stage has such a low thrust to weight ratio that it can't keep itself up. So it's quite possible that this rocket will not make it to orbit at all. Like, no matter... We'd have to make some major changes to it. We might be able to just barely get it up, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get out of the atmosphere, because we're very close to dipping back down into the atmosphere. There. Okay, yeah, that's the one with vertical speed. Yeah, our vertical speed is still, well, in this case it's decreasing, but it's going downwards. So this isn't as efficient, but we're not gonna lose a ton here. We might still just be able to get it to orbit. And at this very steep angle, and now that our thrust to weight ratio is quite a bit higher, we might be able to get it just to poke out of the atmosphere. But look at this path we're taking. 30 seconds left on this. Okay. So, come on, go up faster. Problem is our apoapsis is not going to be above the horizon. So, we're going to put that down to 2. And hopefully our RCS can get us there. Oh, did we just run out of... We did. Okay. So, we're going to... How come that's not working? We have control, but we don't have control. Okay. How come we no longer have control of our rocket? Because we have connection. We ran out of electric charge. I knew that was going to be too low. Really? Well, looks like we had another failure, unfortunately. Although, I don't think we would have had enough delta V in those to save it. We don't even have that's why we don't have maneuver nodes yet. That's why we can't have the maneuver node editor. Okay, Space Center, abandoned mission. Well, so what I'm thinking we might do, kind of use a design similar to what we have here, but modify it significantly. Because, yeah, it's just not working out all that well. And really all we need to do is make this first stage bigger. And then obviously we need more electric charge. We don't have, well, we do have a probe core down here, but it doesn't have a ton of electric charge either. So first what we can do is add a battery onto that. It's 1.5 and we don't need it that long. Okay. And well, if we can figure out the flipping problem, which I'm still completely unsure why that's happening, because I guess it wasn't the stages being connected, although they still kind of are because RC it's kind of positioned weird. Let's just do that to make sure. Okay. And let's put that there. And we can just make this longer. Something like that. How much delta V did that give us actually? So we're at 94.12. That got us over 150. And how much did that add to our burn time? 15 seconds. Okay. So that'll already help us out a lot. And one other thing we could do is we could make the stage smaller. Let's see. If we decrease in size by like half a meter, that when you have very limited rocket engines available, it's not that easy to get to space. One thing we could also do is add another solid rocket motor stage at the top, which would help quite a bit. Also what we could do is the little sounding rocket probe core we're using at the top. It weighs 0.06 tons, which is quite a bit. And I think we'll save if we go to if it ever loads. We go over to research and development and early avionics, which we're currently researching. You can see these weigh like 0.008, so you know that's like what, 1/8. Yeah, even this, the 20-inch X-ray detector, is 1/6 of the little probe core we're using. And how long would we have to wait for that? Well, if we start right now, 235 days, which is quite a long time. Space is pretty cool. I'm gonna subscribe. Hey, thanks for subscribing. We still have a year and 200 days on that. So we could wait for that, and then since we'd have that probe core would be a lot lighter, we would have a lot more delta V on those upper stages, and we could decrease that second stage's time or burn time quite a bit, and that would increase its thrust to weight ratio as well. We could also wait till we have basic orbital rocketry, because I believe, well, we get the new AJ10s, which I think there might be one in there that has higher thrust than the one we're using now. Let's see. No, they're all pretty much the same for thrust. I think once we get to like mature or something. Where is the advanced AJ10? Oh, it might be in this one. Yeah, advanced AJ10. That one has a configurations with 40 kilonewtons. We could also just use one of the higher thrust first stages, completely change our first stage. Decisions. What's the ISP like on this one? I don't think it'd be significantly higher. That one's okay. All the configurations are 278 compared to the one we're using now, which is, yeah, a decent increase to specific impulse. So, what we might do is wait for basic orbital rocketry. So let's do that. Why did you stop my warp? Wait, what? Did we get sent back in time? Why do we have this out here again? We didn't build it again. And we did not revert to, yeah, we just went to the Space Center and we said end flight. Or abandon flight. That's very odd. Okay, what I'm gonna do is scrap that. Because we don't want to launch the same rocket again. Scrap. Hopefully I didn't just cheat and give myself money by accident. Oh well. Alright, there we go. So that will give us a bunch of new engines. Including all the stuff for the Agena and the Atlas rocket. Also the Gamma 8 from the Black Arrow and the R7 rocket engines. So we could go with one of these for our first stage. Or one of these Atlas engines too, because they would give us significantly more thrust, and then we can have a much bigger first stage. We could also use this for our upper stage, which I think we might do that, because it's got a lot more thrust. It's also going to have a much higher specific impulse. So I think we're going to try that. Let's see. Well, first of all, we open this. So let's try it with this new engine, which is too fat, of course. It shouldn't be. It doesn't need this big ring around it. So, well, let's just connect it and change over the fuel to the correct type. Let's see what that does for us. So yeah, the thrust to weight ratio would be much higher, shorter burn time, and let's see, 2,900 versus, what was this? Okay, well yeah, that's just because they're more dense, but we could increase the tank size. Well, let's unlock, not the RD, or the RS, the RD, 10 whatever. The 107's got higher thrust, so let's do that. That's a booster engine. The 108 and 107 are pretty much the same engine. There's some very slight differences. Maybe it says in the description. With a lower chamber pressure, thrust, and wider vernier engine or layout. Yeah. I mean, they're very slightly different. So, I say we go with the 107. So what we'll do, we'll use the same first stage. Or I mean the same upper stages. And what we'll do is we'll just change the first stage. No, we still want it to be a cylinder. And let's make it like way oversized. We also want this avionics to be quite bigger. So 2.5 meter stage. Close enough. Let's make that bigger so we have more electric charge. And we also want to change this. We'll have it auto shape. Change that. That. And we will need one of those. We'll also want to Is that high enough? That is not. Oops. What did I do? Slightly too high. Good enough for me. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a conic tank. Let's give this some fancy coloring. And stick our engine on the bottom. There's our completed rocket. Fill that with kerosene and that with kerosene. Oh wait, yeah, I was doing the right thing. And we're gonna leave this with a fairly high thrust to weight ratio because we're gonna kind of play this a realistic route and use the same first stages and change out upper stages to make more powerful rockets. And I think that'll actually work out with Kerbal construction time. I think it reduces the time it takes to build things based on if you already have built the same parts before. I don't know if that works with procedural parts or not. Like if I just increase that. Yeah, actually that doesn't increase build time at all. Interesting. Anyways, we're still gonna do it that way. So let's make this like 10.5 meters. And that already gives us significantly more delta V. And a 2.5 minute burn time, which is fine by me. And we need some clamps on the bottom. Okay. Let's change everything around to make it right. Okay. And this is a new rocket. And before we were just naming everything Black Skies. And I think we should come up with some like actual naming convention. I want to go after like famous explorers. So who should we name this after? Let's go with, let's just look up famous explorers. See what comes up. Lewis and Clark. There we go. We'll name it after one of them. It was Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. Meriwether sounds like a good name. This will be the Meriwether rocket. With an exclamation point. Excellent. Oh, and our vessel mass is going to be too high. Too high for a launch pad is what I mean. So, one, we have to increase this. We can't. Why can you not? What? Does making it bigger not? Oh, I guess we have a hard limit at 40. The obvious way around this is to put two of them on, because they do add together. Not like that. Like that. Okay. And we might want some aerodynamic surfaces on there too. So let's let's use these winglets. Why not? Yeah, so we do need to upgrade our launch pad if we want to launch like this. Or what we can do, these do have pumps on them, so we can pump the fuel in. That's slightly cheaty. So we can just like under-fuel them at first, and then this will just pump fuel in there. Which is kind of how real rockets work, but I feel like that's a little cheaty. So we might have to change that. Also, let's move these slightly. I think this is actually cheaper than that other rocket. What's the cost of these engines? This is $680, and our other engine was $850. Wow. So we're saving money. Okay. And only 52 days to build. Our other one took like 75. And the good thing about having excess delta V is that our apogee will be very high after the flight because of our solid stages, and we can't like tell them to cut off at a circular orbit. We could underfuel them to get a perfectly circular orbit, which is a thing we might do for like transferring to other planets or the moon in the future. We'll like basically we can know how much delta V it's going to take to do a specific maneuver before we actually build the rocket. So if we know we're going to be in low Earth orbit and we're going to transfer to the moon, we can just have our satellite with a small solid booster with enough fuel to have that exact amount of delta V. Okay, so let's see how long it would take to build that launch pad. So we've requested the upgrade. It's going to take over a year. Excellent. So since it's going to take so long, we might as well warp to early avionics. Put some of those early avionics on our new rocket. That's still not going to be long enough that this contract will fail. Yeah. So hopefully we don't go bankrupt. But what we're going to do, warp to early avionics. And we also still have 15 science points we can spend. So we could go straight to basic avionics, which gets us some more probe cores. And I think actually maybe early avionics will give us some probe core stuff for our procedural probe core. Anything else? We could do basic construction, which doesn't really have a ton of stuff I want. No, we don't have enough for that. We could also do supersonic flight, which we do have some contracts in that, but well, yeah, let's just research that anyways. Because it's only 1 point. We could also do this too. I tried to get my joysticks set up for this, so flying planes is really fun, but I couldn't get that to work. Also, oh, we got another upgrade point. Let's save that for now, because if we do decide to do one of those X-plane contracts, we'll want to put a few upgrade points into the space plane hangar. One thing I noticed while I was messing around in a test save is that the runway kind of doesn't work that well. Especially when landing. I tried to land a plane and I like hit the ground with barely any force and I just bounced way up into the air. So we'll see about that. Right. Oh, we did get upper stage configuration. I don't know what that changes. What does that change? Does it change mass? Looks like it actually increases mass. And percent utilization decreases. Why does this say insufficient avionics now? Because we have two. Oh, because one of them's... Yeah, okay. Oh, when we set it to upper stage, it changed. Yeah, what does that change? 108 kilograms, 10-ton limit. It says percent utilization 63.5. Yeah, I don't know what that changes. Interesting. It seems like it's just a GIMP. I don't know why anyone would set it to upper stage. Whatever. Move that. Is this what we want? No, that's a 20-inch. We want the Sputnik Sphere because it's very lightweight. Wait. 0.08. That is 0.008. Oh, maybe it was the Explorer probe. Where's that? Oh yeah, that one's a 0.008. Maybe we should do that. That would fit on our little boosters better too. What does that have for science? As temperature, radiation, impact, and telemetry. Let's do that. So take everything off, dump that, Explorer probe. There we go, and see how much more delta V we have. We gained like 1500 delta V just from decreasing our probe and mass by a little bit. That's awesome. Okay. So I'm wondering if we still should decrease the second stage in size, just because now we really don't need that delta V. I'm gonna say no. Oh, I didn't put these on correctly either. Okay. Yes, that's nice and even. Okay, let's make sure staging's correct, and that goes, and that. Then, no, fairing does not need to be that early. Spin up, and then those. One thing that actually might help keeping this from flipping over is if we put some separation motors on it. So we have these smallish separation motors. They're actually pretty beefy. Let's see. You're gonna give us detailed stats? 86 kilonewtons. Yeah, let's not do that. Okay. So, we will just name this Merriweather 1 for when we build it. Okay. Yeah, that's just because... Oh. Hello, Cortana. You tabbed me out of the game. Okay. Decoupler attached drawn. No, that's all fine. There were the smaller separation motors, but those were not radially attached ones. I wanted the radial ones, because then what you can do with the radial ones is you put a decoupler on the side, and then you put the separation motor on the decoupler, and then after the separation motors are done burning, you don't have all that dead weight of the motor. I did use those smaller separation motors for the spin up. Alright. It's already getting to late 1953. It was early 1952 when we first attempted to make orbit. Okay. Go away. Alright. The first artificial satellite, we still have 99 days on it. And we'll probably also get this. I'm going to accept it. Hopefully we don't fail this one again. And we have the new launch pad. We're going to roll out. Hello, you're late to the party. Today we're trying to get the first craft into orbit for this save. We failed twice already. Designed a new first stage for our rocket, and we're about to launch that rocket with the new first stage. Oh, I forgot to put a camera on it. Whoops. Oh well. All right. So with this new, very beefy first stage, we could probably use the same trajectory, but I think we can flatten that out a bit. We're not going to go all the way down to 45, which would still probably work with this rocket, because since we have all this excess delta V, we don't really need it to be a really super low perigee. Our perigee could be probably 500 kilometers or more, and we'd still be absolutely fine. Yeah, and a higher perigee just means we have more time in space to burn the second stage before we dip back into the atmosphere, which is what caused the failure of our last flight. So, yes. Show on navball. Okay. Let us prepare to launch. Engine ignition. And liftoff. Now we have like 45 seconds longer on this first stage than our last rocket. And a significantly larger chunk of our delta V is coming from that first stage. Which is good because it means that when our second stage ignites, we will be higher up, and maybe we can avoid that atmospheric stress that was possibly causing this to flip over. That also means our apogee will be higher up when this second stage is ignited, which means it will have longer time to coast before it starts falling back down. Actually, I'm not sure if this will fall back down at all now, although this is a really low thrust second stage. And for this launch, we might actually turn off the second stage early. Like, we might still have 1,000 meters per second of delta V left in it when we cut off that engine, just because we don't want to get too close to apogee with it still burning, because we want to have significant lead time between when we cut off our second stage and when we fire our solid motors, because our solid motors should be fired exactly at apogee. And it doesn't matter right now, but I think I'm going to disable the time delay for remote tech, because it's not really all that fun to play with it. It does add a bit more challenge, but really I just find it more annoying than anything. Yeah, looks like our apogee is going to be quite high. We definitely could have flattened this out a bit more. In fact, we might do that on the fly right here. very high G load. Realistically, this high of a G load would probably be bad for at least something. We're already at 10 Gs. The reason our G load is so high is because, look at that, we did not flip over. Excellent. Fairing separation. Yeah, almost a 400 kilometer apoapsis, so very high. Yeah, our G load was that high because our upper stages are so small compared to our first stage, which is perfectly fine because it means we can put a larger second stage on that first stage and have a more viable rocket for sending actual payloads into orbit. And how are we doing on electric charge? Still tons of it. So I don't think we'll run out at this point. The Explorer 1 has just tons and tons of electric charge. And we have 4.5 minutes to, or 4 minutes to apoapsis, and just under 5 minutes on the stage, which is perfect because our apoapsis will be pushed out and this time will actually drop slower than 1 second per second. And our second stage did not flip this time, so that is fantastic. If you look at our trajectory, that actually is much better. This red line is supposedly what your rocket should follow, but at least in real solar system, I haven't used MechJeb and stock KSP. You're climbing way higher than this would allow, so you just shoot off. But our last one, we kind of went up, and then we peaked, and then we dipped down, then raised up slightly again. Actually, you can see our velocity vector and where we're actually pointing are kind of offset. We're kind of doing a dog leg, and that's just because we've moved across the Earth now. If we want to even those out, we can do probably be like -3 maybe. No, that didn't work. Why did that not work? Oh, that trick used to work all the time in the last version. One of the mods I added was KOS. We might actually use that. Like once we design a launch vehicle that works, I'll program a launch program off screen. I'm not going to do that in stream because it just would take hours and hours, and it'd take multiple streaming sessions before I'd have anything working. Okay, so we're at 5,400 meters per second. We only need about, 7,800 for orbit, which means we definitely have enough delta V in our solids to do that. Which means we could cut our engine now, but let's go for a slightly higher orbit. Maybe this, actually, we might have enough delta V to get up. Definitely past geostationary, maybe up to like lunar height. Is the payload detaching before the retros on stage 2 fire? Yeah, you're right, one. you're thinking these are going to spin it up because these two upper stages are unguided. So we're using spin stabilization to make sure they point in the right direction. Okay, I'm probably going to cut off this engine when we have 30 seconds of burn remaining. All right. And let's point this prograde. We have plenty of RCS fuel left. And we're just going to hold prograde for almost 2 minutes until we reach apoapsis, and then we're going to fire our solids. We can probably get rid of these now. Oh, awesome. We do have Bermuda. Last time I played, we did not have Bermuda, and we would lose tracking by now. I was starting to get worried about that. It's like, we're going to cut out any time, aren't we? There's still Puerto Rico and Cuba, right? Yeah. I know. That would be the Dominican Republic. That's Cuba. Well, and Haiti. Okay. We are 1 minute out from apoapsis. Oops, I hit escape, not M. The dark side of the earth is very dark. Oh, we got a speed record too. Awesome. We'll probably get another one of those. Right, 30 seconds out. At 15 seconds, we're going to disable RCS and activate our spin-up motors. And then at roughly 5 seconds out, we are going to fire our things. Alright, spin up. And staging. And we're in orbit. And let's go higher. Oh, wow, we reached escape trajectory there. Or escape velocity. Awesome. So, yeah, we had a lot of extra delta V. I didn't think we were going to get quite to escape velocity, but I guess we did. I didn't really want to get to escape velocity. I kind of wanted to be just in a very high Earth orbit, but it's whatever. And did we not get our... Oh, we need to recover science. Okay. I was like, why did we not get our contract? Okay. Radiation data. Temperature, we have temperature. Alright, there we go. First artificial satellite. Impact data is one we don't have. Sounding rocket medium. We could have done sounding rocket high too. Okay. And it's time warp till we're somewhere. We're still over the water. I want to get out over Africa. I think we're over Africa now. Grasslands. Radiation data. Impact is not biome specific. Still above grasslands. I should get that mod that tells you. Whoa. The mod that tells you when you have new science available. We're above water again. No, right there. Tropics. New data. And I think that's probably going to be the last biome we'll get before we reach high orbit. And hopefully we'll still be connected then. Where is the activate? There we go. Now our antennas are out and we should have a much higher range for our connection. Right now we're connected to Nigeria. Where is Spain? Santa Marina. Yeah, I think right here must be. I can't really read them because they're over each other, but I think one of these is the tracking station for the Deep Space Network. Oh well. Let's keep flying. No, we're still not in high space. Probably starts at like geosynchronous orbit. High space. Awesome. And we've got tons of science now. And still a lot of electric charge. It probably has enough electric charge to make it survive as long as the real one did, which was quite a while. So let's go all the way to Earth Escape. And why do we have it stopping us? Oh, reconditioning. Let us warp. There we go. We've escaped Earth. Now we can get some data from solar orbit. No, we can't because we have no connection. I guess our connection was not strong enough. I was kind of hoping it was, but oh well. What kind of solar orbit are we in? We made it not even close to Mars. I guess also we weren't taking the most efficient path out of Earth, but well then, I'm surprised we didn't get any contract or like money for escaping Earth. So let's see what kind of contracts we have. All sorts. What orbits of Mars? We can't do that yet. We have science data from around Earth, atmospheric analysis, which doesn't give us a ton. It's to put in a specific orbit. Lunar impactor and lunar flyby. And lunar orbit. Past the Kármán line crewed. Successful re-entry. And that asks for specific orbits of Earth, which actually give a fair bit of money. We might try to create a upper stage that allows us to specifically place satellites into very precise orbits. But yes, lots of new stuff. Excellent. First craft to reach orbit. And I think we're actually going to end the stream soon because it took us quite a while to do that. Let's see. Why did I click that? I didn't mean to click this one. I meant to click the research and development. And also, I should check. No, it's not that one. What is it? Mission control? Flight planning. Yes, that's one thing we definitely want. Although it's not really necessary to go to the moon, we can probably just do it by eye. Flight planning would be very useful. And also we want patch conics for sure. Oh, this actually changes the max deep space network power. Oh, I bet if we upgraded this, we'd be able to connect to our probe. Although, it'd be significantly farther away. Interesting. Every time I join the stream, hence, oh, sorry, man. You can always watch it again. It gets automatically uploaded to YouTube right after I finish. But let's see. Could do basic solids. We could do construction. Survivability we almost definitely want. Maybe basic avionics. This 1 kilonewton thruster is something we want too, because that's extremely useful. This also gives us some more experiments. Okay, I think we're going to go with basic avionics. And let's throw basic solids in there too, why not? And okay, yeah, one reason we want to do basic avionics as well is it's a requirement for basic capsules. We also need basic construction, so we should do that too. Yeah, let's throw that in there because we want to get people in space. We want to beat the real life people by many years. And actually, we already did. We beat them by like, what, 4 years to get to orbit. I'd say that's pretty good. I keep going back to the same things I've already seen several times. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to end the stream here. Hope everyone enjoyed. If anyone's got any final questions, ask them now. And I don't see anyone asking final questions. I know there's a delay to the stream though. I don't know how big that delay is. When's the next stream? That's a question. Actually, you typed Streesum. Next stream, I don't know. This might be kind of a weekly thing, maybe. I'm not really sure. Just kind of whenever I feel like it, I guess. Also, next video that is not a stream is probably going to be up early next week, like maybe Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. And that video is also going to be the next part 2 in that How Rocket Engines Work series. I think I finally got the script down to where I like it. Alright, well, I'm getting very hungry, so I'm going to go eat dinner, and I'm going to end the stream here. So, I need to go into my thing, and see you all next time.